Welcome back to Still a Part of Us. We are so grateful to be here with you today and so grateful that you've come back to join us for this conversation with Natalia. Natalia and I just had a wonderful conversation, a really just heartbroken for her situation with Andrew, her son. And so welcome back, Natalia. We're so grateful you're here today.
Thank you. Thank you.
And will you please tell us what happened in a nutshell to Andrew and how old was like how many weeks he was and about how long ago it was that he was born?
Andrew was born in November 2023 at 37 weeks. He was born with, on the ultrasound, visible brain damage and hydrocephalus.
Hmm.
And at first, doctors didn't know what it is. So we went for the autopsy, and it showed that it was intracranial immature teratoma. It's a very aggressive tumor, very rare and very aggressive, with high mortality rate, especially in infants.
I would recommend just listening to her episode about her son because there was a lot of sweet things that happened despite how sudden, right? And terrible the situation was, but there was a lot of just nice things that were able to happen because of that. So Natalia, it's been about 18 months or so since you lost Andrew, and I do like to ask people how their grief journey has been early on, like the first few months, and then as time has gone by. Can you tell me how that has looked for you and your husband?
Yeah, first months they of course were brutal. I was like me and my husband, we were on maternity and paternity leave
Yeah.
respectively, and it gave us a lot of free time in our heads to fill up with heavy thoughts and everything. And yeah, it was hard. My husband was my rock at the time, like even not like even and now at that time I just saw him as my man, and I leaned on him in that very hard moment, even though he was going through the same stuff as I did. But kind of he picked me up, and he helped me through my physical recovery, and I think through the mental as well, because he started like decided to start new habits. Like
Mm.
he started running every single day, and he hasn't missed a day since then, like since December 2023. It's just like it can be small run,
Yeah.
it can be big run, but he hasn't missed a day. And he was like, first few months he was taking me on walks a
Yeah.
lot with our dog. So I was walking with them in the morning and in the evening, and we also made it as a habit to go and climb up some hill every single weekend. We
Mm.
did not miss that thing as well. Like we were climbing one specific hill, and we were making like a landscape photo of the view at this, like on the city, on the Dublin.
Yeah.
And yeah, and in the end my husband, he just made like a, video of the photos, how
Oh,
the weather and the seasons were changing. So that was our escape.
yeah.
We were hiking. You can get to the top of the hill through different routes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that make it fun. And yeah, we could escape.
I just think that okay, so a couple of things that I hear on this, like, it is so brutal. Like, people don't realize
Yeah,
how that first, I don't even know, 3, 4, 6 months, you just are in a daze. There is something to be said about going outside for a walk and a hike.
yeah.
I think that is really nice. And then it sounds like your husband also, he did some, like, outside like, he would go on his own and do his own, like, run on his own, which
Yeah.
is also good because you need to sometimes grieve by yourself. Like, it's good to grieve
Mm.
together, but it's also good to have your own time and to, like, think through your stuff and process your stuff on your own.
Yeah, I did that a lot. Like grieve, I was crying when I wanted to cry,
Yeah.
like crying myself to sleep, or like crying in the shower that no one would hear me. Like it was, yeah, it was brutal, and especially during holidays. Like
Yeah.
his due
Oh,
date was 12th of December,
Yeah.
and I was always told like, oh, he's going to be a Christmas boy because like usually the birth of the first baby usually is late. So
Mhm.
you're like, oh, he's going to be a Christmas boy. And when that Christmas hit, it was just like a
Yes.
sucker punch.
Yep.
And yeah.
I don't think people realize how those holidays can, especially ones that are a big family tradition for you in your family. You're just like, I'm missing
Yeah.
somebody. We're missing
And
somebody.
we had cute outfits for him
Yeah.
prepared for the Christmas too. And
Yeah.
they didn't happen. So instead, I channeled my grief into some arts and hobbies, like doing some DIY. So
Yeah.
I made like a Christmas tree baubles with
Yeah.
his footprints and handprints to hang on the
Yeah.
Christmas tree. Yeah, that was my first project dedicated to him. So
Yeah. That's what you got to do.
yeah,
And sometimes you need a little
yeah.
bit of an escape.
My escape was to do something with my hands
Mhm.
because with that time on maternity leave that you don't have anything to do except like whatever like I watched lots of YouTube, but at some point it became not really healthy because
Yes.
it was like a Xanax for me just to you kind of dive into that world, you
Yes.
scroll like it's a doom
Mhm.
scrolling, just
Numb
waste
out.
your time,
Ye
numb out, waste your time
Yeah.
and go to sleep. It was like that. And at some point, like it was not healthy. So I started planning other like DIY projects
Yeah.
and walking more and more. And yeah, it was really hard. I'm not qualified to give an advice, but I really can share I just can share what we did that I think helped us to stay sane, like
I would love
in
to.
this
Yeah, that's and
situation.
exactly, and that's we're all different. We're all going to
Yes,
relate to
yes.
the quote unquote advice. Everybody's like, I don't have advice, and I was like, yeah, you do. You have your advice that has worked for you, and so let's hear it because we just something might click with somebody. So what worked for you then?
For us, it was movement. We were waking up, having breakfast, trying to do some meaningful things like go for a walk, do something else, and not to stay on our phone for too much, like
Yes.
doom scrolling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like planning, even if we didn't complete those tasks, but the brain work, like you planning, maybe like taking notes. I had like a sketchbook where I drew my ideas. Like for
Yeah.
example, in Ukraine we have this special type of painting on the eggs.
Oh
I
yes.
was I was designing an egg, and I finally painted it this Easter. So that was my like that design was in my sketchbook for a year, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it because I created it like I read a book on these paintings,
Yeah.
and each symbol it has a meaning, and I was keen to create like a
Of
image
with all the
painting
symbols.
with those symbols that I like everything I wanted to express
Yeah.
towards Andrew. So it was very hard, like it was very special to create this that for him, and like even to draw, like and creating it this year, and it went really great. I,
Oh,
it was my first attempt, and it
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 turned
looks
out.
amazing.
Okay, you guys,
Yeah,
I would love for you to, and Natalia, you don't have to send. I mean, if you happen to have a picture of it, we would love to see it. But I just want to explain to the listeners that Ukrainian Easter eggs are like they are gorgeous, and there's a lot of planning because you have to like put beeswax on them. Well, you have to draw it, and then you have to put
yeah,
beeswax on them, and then you dye it, and then you cover the dyed area with beeswax so that like there's all sorts. It's like backwards planning. It's so cool, but it does take a lot of time and if you want it to turn out right and beautiful. And so I
yes,
how fun that is for you to have done something that is very meaningful and
yeah.
with your
The
hands
lines are
too.
not straight, but I did
There you
it.
go. See, and that's what matters. You did it. I think
Yeah,
that's beautiful. Like
yeah,
creating something that's one thing that I found is when you create something on behalf of your baby, there's something very I don't know, restorative. I'll be honest, one of the reasons why we started this podcast was because it was a way to create something for our son. Like
Mm.
when we designed his my son's we did a headstone bench thing for where he was buried. It was a creative process for him. And so there's something very helpful in at least for me. And it sounds like just kind of like for you too. You're like, this is something I made for him, and you did it, and it took a
Yes.
lot of effort and planning.
Yeah, yeah, it was special.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, tell me other things
yeah.
that you and your husband did. So obviously movement, having a plan, having some sounds like you got up and actually ate something nutritious.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like
That sounds
we were trying to like to stay healthy,
yeah.
not dive into some like
D-
mm, fast food or
yeah.
something like that. We were trying to stay healthy. We also started like it took us a year to make a photo album
Mm,
for Andrew, like the digital version,
yeah.
like to pick photos to place them in the right order. Oh, it took 2 weeks, and me crying all those 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It was like reliving everything
Yeah.
again. So it will be special. We already have an album itself, like the book,
Mhm.
and we just waiting for an inspiration to print those photos and just put them in the album.
Yes.
And yeah, that's. But I think the hardest part is done when I had to just go through
All the
tons
pictures.
of photos from those 5 days, and yeah, it was brutal all over again. I
Yeah. It is. Those pictures can be so rough to look at. And then you just see pictures of yourself and you were just like, "Oh man, that was hard."
Yeah, I started that album like from the pregnancy days,
Yeah.
like seeing myself happy with
Yeah.
a
So
smile,
hopeful.
those photo shoots,
Yes. With your friend that came in.
with my friend. Yeah, yeah, with my photographer friend. Yeah, it was hard to switch it so sharp. It was such a sharp switch, like from happy to sad.
Immediately. It was
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
it is. But you know what? Also, I just think of like I that's one of the reasons why we asked those questions about the pregnancy and like how things were and how he was in your belly because of those things. I'm like, it is hard to separate the sad events at the end, and realize that you were happy and you were happy with him and he was healthy and had a strong
yeah.
heartbeat. And I know that he had a sad end, but it's not that he's not a sad thing.
Hmm.
I just saw that in a poem today, and I just was like, "Oh, that's exactly right." There's so much sadness associated with it, but it's nice to be able to tease out that there were some very happy moments and expectations and hope. You somebody
Yeah.
you hoped for,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
is so good.
Yeah. About the meaningful stuff we did, we also volunteered.
Mm.
It was probably a couple of times, but we were helping to pack and load medical equipment to send to Ukraine.
Oh
Like
yes,
yeah, like medical aid. So
yes,
we were helping that, like while on paternity leave, we
yeah,
were volunteering,
that's
going
awesome.
to going to pick up trash on the beach. Like we were all over.
Hmm.
We were looking for and taking any opportunity to go out somewhere and like not sit at home actually.
Yeah.
We also were fundraising for the maternity hospital and those
Oh.
foundations that helped us um, every March. And in, I think it's October or November, there's like a series of fundraisers being launched
Hmm.
for different foundations. You can pick whatever you like, and you can like either walk or run or
Oh
move like
yeah,
10,000 steps, like 50,000 steps, whatever. And
yeah,
you just, you log your progress, you share it with your friends, and they donate money.
awesome.
Yeah, so that's what was keeping us like March of 2024. We were walking a lot. I think it was 140,000 steps a month for me, and for Vadim, it was for my husband, it was more because he was running.
He was running also.
Yeah, yeah, he did. Like he probably did as twice as much.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was great, and we were taking this each opportunity to go outside
Yeah.
and be around people and just look at the trees and touch the grass.
Yeah.
Honestly, because
Nature is so
yeah,
healing. I don't know what the deal is, but going outside makes a
yeah,
huge difference.
yeah. And when the time comes, like we were actually went on one session of the group support.
Mm.
It was also heavy and brutal because the session was there were another couple, a lady and a very young girl.
Mhm.
I think she was in college or something. She was very young,
Yeah.
and on that group, like the parents shared their stories, and there were like four different cases:
Oh,
stillborn, on the way to the hospital, 20-week miscarriage, our case, like a
yeah.
medical issue, and another young girl. It was infant death, probably SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. And hearing that story, like each story, it was brutal all over again. And like sharing our story a little bit, it was also like, mm,
So hard.
yeah, so hard. I actually found your podcast very helpful because it actually it's I actually listening to the exactly the same stories, and you can listen to them every like any time of the day, because that group is only once a month,
Yes,
and
yes.
sometimes it doesn't work, but here you can listen to them, and it worked like a group therapy actually for me, because you were talking and other mother were talking, and I was like in my head I was pretending I was just sitting next,
Listening.
like next to you, and I was listening to that too. Like it was
I'm s
uh,
yeah.
like it helped a lot, even though it's such a sad occasion for this podcast, but it helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I say this every single time. I It helps me every time I hear somebody's story because it reminds me of my son, first of all,
Mm.
and then also it makes me feel less alone.
Yes.
That this
Yeah.
unfortunately happens to other people, and
Yeah.
happy to be in this journey together, I guess. It's kind of a selfish
Yeah.
reason, I think, but it works for me.
Yeah, it's like sounds horrible in
Yeah, when
when
you
you like when we say it, even in my head it sounds horrible,
yeah.
but
It feels
yeah,
right though, like, yeah, it really feels like it's not yeah, you're right. When I vocalize it, it's like, "That sounds terrible," but in my heart, it feels okay. It feels okay to
mhm,
be with all of you. So,
mhm.
Natalia, so when you I love that you also both of you kind of threw yourself into service, and I feel like you guys were very active. Like you just did stuff. It seems like that's maybe what one of the things that really helped you was just to move and to do things and to be of service to others. Was there anything in particular that drew you to that, or was it just felt right to go that route?
Yeah, it was just it felt natural to go somewhere, and I like to look around and see what needs to be done. Like I was picking trash around my neighborhood a lot. We get pretty windy weather in
Yeah.
here, so it can bring with every storm. Like we get piles of like
Yeah.
some candy cover, like
Yeah, I'm
covers, and
sure.
like yeah, it's like everything. So yeah, like we were going to pick up trash. We even bought this trash picker, so we were we
You were
were
in it.
having fun outside. Yeah,
I think that's pretty
yeah. So
great.
it felt just right, and as long as we were outside, it felt even better
Yeah.
that we're doing something. Yeah.
And when you
Um,
guys went back to work, was there anything that helps you with that transition? Because I know that that can be very difficult, es
oh,
especially with, like, if people knew what happened or didn't know what happened. It feels like the workplace yeah, it feels like everybody's,
yeah.
like, walking on eggshells. I don't know. It was hard when I went back to work. How was it for you?
Uh,
How was it for Vadim?
yeah. So in one of those reading materials that we got in the hospital from bereavement midwife, there were some tips and advice
Mhm.
for parents, and one of them was do not do anything life changing. Do not do any life changing decision at least for a year. And I was like, what is it? But then
What kind of advice is that?
what is it nonsense? Because like we started reading those materials when we were home, and like, settled a little bit. I pulled them out from the bag and started reading, and I'm like, what is this? And then, because my first thought, like, I'm not returning to work at all. I don't want to be in that company. Not that it is bad, but I just didn't want to go back because people knew that I was pregnant. I left 1 week ago for maternity leave, and this happened, and I was just like, I'm not ready to
Face.
face them. Probably because I felt like a failure, that
Yeah.
I didn't want to see people. That, like, thankfully, I've been working from home since the COVID,
Yeah.
and I wasn't planning on going to the office, but I didn't even want to come back
Uh,
into these online meetings because I could feel like a little bit of pity and sadness. I didn't want those feelings to be expressed toward me. I didn't want to see them. Like,
yeah.
that was my strange impression how it would look like going back to work, but I was wrong.
Yeah.
Of course, after 3 months, I changed my mind. Like, 1 month later, I was thinking, okay, I'll probably go back to work, but in 6 months. Yeah,
Mm.
sounds nice. That's how I was planning. Like, yeah, I'm not going back to work at least for 6 months.
Okay.
And at the end of the third month, I was already done. I need to go to work
Mhm. Mhm.
now. Otherwise, I'll go mental here. Even though we were doing nice things, like, trying to keep ourselves busy, it still wasn't enough. I still had too many free hours on my
Yep.
hand to think, like, to have those heavy thoughts, bad thoughts
Yeah.
about myself and everything. And yeah, I decided to go back to return to
To
work
your work.
after
Yeah.
after 4 months.
Okay.
I Like, in the end of the month four, I went to see my friend photographer in Barcelona,
Yeah.
and another friend. So we had like a girls trip there.
Yeah.
And when I come back, I logged in. I had a meeting at work, and yeah, a few people reached out. They said, like, they were sorry, and it was fine,
Okay.
and it was okay. No one was bringing it up. I did not feel any pity. I just jumped straight into work, and it was helpful, like, to keep yourself busy. If you cannot keep yourself busy at home by doing something nice and
Mhm.
meaningful stuff, like going back to work, definitely helped me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like when, that was how I felt when I was at home. I just felt like I was ruminating. Like, you just go over and over and over things
yeah,
and
same thing. Like,
a lot of what ifs or I should have done this and it is not helpful. Like there you definitely need space to mourn and to cry and to grieve. And but then there's definitely a point where you get like you said, just sitting I'm going to go mental because I'm sitting here thinking of those same thoughts over and over again and they're not helpful thoughts and so
yeah,
yeah. It's
I was reiterating them, like, saying the same thing to my husband,
Mhm.
and he was like, we already talked about, and we decided that it's not, it's not like that.
Yeah.
Like, I was still trying to rationalize, and like, all of that was happening to me. I was trying to find a pattern, or like
Mm. Yes.
make it like
Makes sense
make
or
it
like
make sense of it, make like some shape out of it, like, because it was like a
yeah.
slush, random things flying around. I just wanted structure,
Yes.
some structure to ground me, and it was,
Yeah. It's rough.
yeah. And yeah, for Vadim, it was, he went to work after 3 months.
Okay.
He already took like 1 month, additional 1 month
Uh,
of like
paternity leave. Yeah.
mental health
Oh, good.
leave.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, he
And
went back.
and that sounded
Yeah,
like that was good for him too.
yeah, I think so. Like, he he was going to the office, so he had
Oh,
some people around. Actually, I don't think that no one asked us about like the story.
mm,
Not like, he shared the news with his colleagues. They sent some nice, lovely messages. Someone shared their stories.
oh.
as well. Yeah. So
That's good that there
um,
was seems like that it was okay. It's I don't know, it feels different when a woman is announcing that her baby died versus the
yeah,
man.
I
I don't
I
it
actually
shouldn't be, but it feels kind of that way, so
yeah, I actually asked my team leader to share it.
to share
I
it.
said like yeah, I told him maybe one like few days later after everything happened.
Yes.
I sent him a message. Like he knew that yeah, I sent him a message and yeah, he was very like sorry. And then a few months later, he said, "Are you okay if I'm gonna tell
Okay.
like your team because they're asking?" Like, yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
So I was grateful to him for doing that job
Yeah.
because, like, I think because he did it in advance, it kind of actually like soft launched me
Yeah.
returning, and it wasn't as hard because everyone like if he would told him like day before, maybe it would be hard, and I would still like think and pick up on some
Yeah. The awkwardness, yeah.
awkwardness. Yeah, but it was like few months before coming back to work, and I think like everything settled down, and it really helped
Okay. That
seamlessly return to work.
yeah. I like how you said that he kind of soft launched you back into work. That's actually a lovely way of putting it because we my boss did the same thing and they just she told them my team what had happened. I didn't come back for like 6 weeks or so and it was nice for them cuz they knew that I was coming back. I feel like they loved me and they gave me they were just so sweet about it when I came back. So it's nice to have that ahead warning, I guess, of, something big that happened in your life and, to help you through that transition. Yeah, that's rough. It's rough.
I don't know how it would go if I would have been like working at the office. I don't know. I think I would definitely consider just quitting. I was on the brink of quitting the job just
Yeah,
because I didn't want to see other people, just to see their faces and feel like a complete failure. But
yeah.
yeah,
I d when you said that, I was like, "Oh, that is exactly how I feel." Like, sometimes it's like, I was supposed to bring a baby to this world, and I
yeah.
failed at that, and I think a lot of
And
women
now
probably feel
everybody
that,
knows.
and everybody knows that you failed at something. It is really, it's
Yeah,
it's very hard to face that thought. It's not true, but
yeah,
it's a thought that you have. That
It was not true, but that's how I felt.
it's still in your
And
brain.
yes.
Yeah. So Natalia, I like to ask this question. It's what are some things that people did that was very helpful or said that was very helpful in your journey and even now? Like is there anything that really clicked, anything you heard even on this podcast because there's been there's some gems on this podcast that I'm impressed with other moms. I'm like, "Oh man, I'm going to use that now because it just helps." So is there anything that or even your family members or friends that you're closest to that they were able to do
Mm.
something for you that was helpful?
Our friends here that we had here, we have a couple of friends, and they were sending us food,
Oh, yes.
like delivery. Yeah, they were sending like some frozen food, like pre-made food. You just
Yeah,
need to
just to
warm it
heat
up,
up. Yep.
and some like sushi. And yeah, it was very lovely. Like for a month, we were getting these
Oh,
uh,
good.
gifts. Yeah, it was, and they were taking us for a walk.
Oh, good.
There was a dog, sometimes like just around the park. So they were
It
keeping
sounds
us busy.
yeah, I was gonna say that just it sounds like they were showing up on regular intervals, whether it's in like you said, dropping off food or like you said, taking you guys on walks. That's big because
Yeah,
that consistency shows a lot of love and care for you. It's really sweet.
our
Um,
family was far away,
yeah,
and our other friends they were also far away, so they were just showing like checking in on us
yeah,
regularly. Like they were showing some moral support.
yes,
There was nothing they could do.
yeah.
Yeah, so, like our friends from Spain, they were sending us like bouquets of Spanish like salami.
Oh,
We went to receive, so it was like it's just great. I really like, really like, we like this,
yeah.
and we usually buy home like a lot, and they sent us like a 10 pack,
Oh
and
my
it was like a
gosh.
book. It was like a bouquet, and like that's
You're
that's
Well, and
lovely. I love
that's
it.
exactly, I was gonna say that keeps really well for a long time, and so, I mean, that is lovely. I would love a bookcase of
Yeah.
salami, essentially, or sausage. Uh,
Yeah, the same friends invited us for their baby shower.
mhm.
They were first like hesitant
Yes.
because they found out like they're pregnant in some March of 2024 or
Okay.
something like that, and they were even like hesitant to tell us that they're pregnant. But I chose to be happy for them, and I really glad that I did that. I did not like push them away, and we went to a baby shower in Barcelona, had a week of like
Yeah.
holidays,
Mhm.
so it was lovely. Yes, so we were open to any activities at the time. So I'm really glad that we did it,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm thankful to those friends for inviting us, for not being afraid to do that, even though like it was almost a year.
Yeah.
It was still hard, but we were very happy for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they give birth to a beautiful baby girl. So
Yeah.
she's a cutie,
Oh,
and we are supporting them in every way. So
you kinda blew my mind when you said I chose to be happy for them. Ye like,
yeah, at that time, like when they told me like I had options to be like, oh,
yeah.
that's horrible. Like why
I don't
why are
wanna
they
even
telling me this?
yeah.
I don't want to, because like few months when I saw a baby, like
You were
an
like, "Nope."
infant, I was turning into a complete mess. I was crying in the cafes. I couldn't look at when I saw a baby. I
Yeah.
was breaking down. But with the time, 6 months later, I was looking at the like little babies. I was at least smiling at them, and not. I was still feeling like a choking feeling in my like
Your throat, yeah, in your yeah.
yeah, like I was choking
Yeah,
basically, like
yeah.
from. But yeah, but when our friends told us that they're pregnant, yeah, I chose to be happy, and I'm really glad that I did it.
Yeah.
At this point, like it's a choice. In some other situation, it might not be, but in this particular, it was very helpful
For
to
you.
our healing.
Yeah. I just think that's wonderful,
Yeah,
and beautiful. On the flip side of the coin, was there anything that anybody said or did that was not so great, or things that you maybe just recommend maybe not saying to somebody that has lost a baby?
there was one instance, like we were telling a family about what happened, like
Mhm.
next day after everything, and one of the family member said the first thing that was said was, "Don't worry, you'll have another one." And I was sitting in my bed, like in the hospital bed, with Andrew by my
With
side.
yeah.
It wasn't like 2 months later; it was the next day, and I don't know what was going on inside the head of of that person.
Yeah.
what? What? What do you mean?
Yeah, the fact
I
that your
just
baby is right there, you're like, "Yeah, yeah,
yeah, it was.
that must have stung even more than"
At that point, they probably didn't know what to say or
yeah.
something, but they'd rather kept silent. It was brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
and another one. It's like it's from my husband. We didn't have that. Like we are. If you take my husband introvert and me a little bit of extrovert in the middle, we're kind of almost introvert, like in the
Yes.
middle. So we don't have many friends.
Yes, yes.
So like the rest of the friends, they were very like understanding, and they didn't say
Okay.
anything stupid. Like they were offering like help,
Yeah, it sounds like your friends were
suggest
showing
yes,
up
yeah,
so good.
yeah, suggestion like going for therapy, sending some resources if they felt that the way, for example, I was talking, they thought it's like concerning that I was talking about some dark stuff,
Oh,
and they were like, "Oh, you should go and like read this." Like they were helpful. But some another case from my husband work, when he said how's everything, and so yeah, we had a baby, he died, and that person like oh yeah, and we just had we just had a new baby just a few months ago. I'm like, oh, okay, oh, okay, that's great, congratulations. And it was like all in the same sentence, you know. Here you go, like, in the same conversation. Yeah, like
Huh. Yeah, yeah,
that was weird. That
yeah.
was the weirdest. I think it's even more. I don't know. Is it like on the same level with?
No, I don't think so. I was like, I mean, it's the same topic, but not at the same time.
Kind of,
Yes,
but
kind of, but it's not. Like, they need to be able to read that a little bit better, I think. Oh, yeah, that's not good. Don't do that. I agree. That is not one. Like, don't because essentially they just glazed over that topic. They didn't acknowledge it. Um,
probably no. I think they just like didn't hear it, or like they only heard like, oh yeah, we had a baby.
Yes, and they wanted to relate in some way, but they didn't hear the part that your baby died, and
After but
yeah, there is a big that's a big but right there, that is
yeah,
the big but. But yeah. Oh, yeah, that's not great. That's not great. Don't say that,
yeah,
people.
yeah. Don't say.
Just simply, all you have to do is acknowledge it. You can say you're sorry, and it is awkward, but you gotta be okay walking up to the awkward. It's gonna be awkward. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
that's all there is to it.
And yeah, it's like there's also like things they say, but there are also things that people usually do not say, and they usually they are timid and scared to
Yeah,
ask any question,
yeah.
and because like they might think that you might get sad, but you are already sad and will be sad
We'll be sad.
till the rest of
Always.
your life.
Yes. Yeah, we will be, and it's okay. It's okay though.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah, I vowed for myself that like if anyone ever asks me, I will answer. Like I will not hold back uh, on anything. I will tell everything. Like if they ask.
yeah.
So sometimes like there are glimpses now from friends. They're asking some like uh, tiny questions. Like I'm not. I wasn't disclosing what wasn't asked. Like they asked a question, I answered it. I didn't like went on
Go in.
telling this to our story.
Yes, yes, yeah, exactly.
But it's like a little glimpses of confidence to ask
Yeah.
about Andrew. So just if you know someone in the same situation, just ask them about their baby. They will be glad
Yes.
to tell them about.
Yes. It is true, we will, and it might make us cry, and that might make you uncomfortable, but be willing to yeah, be willing to be okay with that because we'll give you little glimpses, like you said, of what happened, and,
Yeah,
it's nice to be able to share that with others. Share
yeah,
your
and
son with others.
yeah. And while I was reading, like it's probably like one thing I want to try. It's a new thing I read somewhere when like a mother who lost their baby, every time she was ordering coffee, she would order it in his name. So like
When
so
they call out the
basically,
name.
yeah, the book when they call out the name, they would call out his like baby's name, and I thought like, oh, that's brilliant. I just need to get out the house, like to get out the house and go get some coffee.
Do that,
Yeah,
please. Oh, I love
yeah.
that. I'm gonna do that, actually. Oh, I love that so
Yeah.
much. You could
Yeah,
do that so many
when I heard
places.
this, like, yeah, I felt like, oh, next time, like, oh, next weekend, we go for a walk with
Yeah.
our dog and like to get some toasties and coffee. I'm definitely doing that.
Oh, I love that so much. What a cute way to be like, "Oh, looking out for your
Yeah,
son."
yeah. And every time, like, I see, like, in the midst of everything, we were like just walking, and one moment we sat down at the park at the cafe, and I saw a robin.
Mhm.
It's a bird,
Yeah,
you know. I'm not sure. So every time I see Robin, I think it's Andrew
Andrew.
visiting me.
That is wonderful. I love it when people see they have a symbol and they look out for their baby through those little symbols. Ah, you gotta do those kind of things so that you feel
Mhm.
connected, I think.
Yeah,
Natalia, it has been such a pleasure to talk with you today. I hate to take up so much of your time, but it has been wonderful chatting with you and getting so much. I just feel like I'm like, this was such a great conversation. It was so, so good. And I wanted to ask you one last question. If you had any little bits of one last bit of advice that you'd like to share to other lost parents, or maybe even those who are supporting a lost parent on what they could do to help.
For the parents, give yourself grace, and your grief, it's a journey and it's different for everyone. And like, do not try to be in someone else's shoes. And sometimes I see people dealing with grief in different ways, and like how did they deal with it so fast.
Mm.
Like, if it doesn't feel right for you, just don't do it. Follow your heart and choose your own journey. Don't look at others and think then to yourself that you're not doing enough. You're doing enough for yourself, and just keep going.
Yes.
And for the people who support, like who's trying to support parents in grief, just show up. Don't expect parents to ask you. Like, they will probably won't ask you as much
Yep.
as you would thought. Like saying, "Oh, just let me know if you want to talk." They will never ask you. Ask them first, because personally, I would not start this conversation because I don't know what person mood. Like,
Yeah.
how do I know that they are up for this talk? It's not that simple. I don't know, as a breakup or something like that. It's not that
Yeah.
like that. It's very different. It's very deep and dark. And just show up for them, take them on a walk, and ask questions about their baby.
Yes. Yes. Natalia, thank you again. Like so 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 much. I just can't thank you enough for your time today and for your story and thank you for sharing Andrew with us too,
Yeah.
especially.
Thank you very much for this safe place to share the story, for being supportive. I would never think that I would done it, but uh, you opened me up. You opened me, like, to share this story,
Good.
and I felt really safe to share it with you. And yeah, I really glad that I did.
I'm so,
It's
yeah.
out there, and
Yes.
I hope it will help someone else.
I think it will
As
cuz it's helped me. Honestly. Thank you, Natalia.
thank you, Winter.